Hello, everybody. I am Viggy Parhampton, and welcome to Tag Team Tales of Terror, where another horror author and I work together to create something short and diabolical. Today, I've tagged Markus Kliwer. His debut novel, We Used to Live Here, began life as a serialized short story on Reddit, where it won the Scariest Story of 2021 award on the No Sleep Forum. Film rights were snapped up by Netflix, and it was acquired by Simon & Schuster for publication even before it had been extended into a full-length novel. His second novel, The Caretaker, is out now from 1201 Books. Welcome, Markus.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So let me explain why we're here. So Tag Team Tales of Terror is a progressive story where we will alternate telling bits of the story until we reach some sort of satisfying conclusion.
Okay.
We're aiming for like 30 seconds a person, and I'll have a timer up in this corner so you can just keep an eye on that.
Okay.
I will have a prompt that I draw from this awesome hat.
Do I need a keyboard to type, or do I just speak
You do
it?
not need a keyboard. You might want like a pen and paper
Okay.
just to jot things down as we go. As my guest, you get to start us off, which is definitely the harder job, so I'm sorry. And we're aiming for like 10 minutes. But if it's shorter, if it's longer, totally fine.
Okay.
And then after putting you through all of that, I have a surprise for you.
Sounds good.
Any questions before we get started?
I just kind of go, or is there like a prompt,
I
or?
will pull the prompt out of this hat.
Okay, perfect.
Okay,
I'm
speaking
just
of,
creating a notebook on my little notebook thing here, so.
okay,
Okay.
we'll see what you got. You can't stop hiccuping.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
And let me know when you're ready, and I will start the timer.
So I'm just like saying this as if it's prose, or?
You can do it however you want to do it. I've had people do it in second person, first person, past, present, jumping around. I'll
Okay.
follow your lead.
Oh man, it's gonna be tricky. Okay. Good to go whenever.
Yeah, I'll start the timer. And starting the timer. There.
Okay. Elmer Watson couldn't stop hiccuping. He had tried every single remedy, from standing upside down on his head, from trying to scare himself, from snake oils, all the way to uh, meditation and prayer, and none of it worked until the day he found the wonderful cure all shop in a back alley of New York. Okay. 30 seconds, right?
Yeah, you're good. He walked into the cure-all shop. He found the proprietor, and it took him about 10 minutes to explain what he was there for, because every 5 seconds he would. It was really hurting him at this point, and he was doubled over in pain, but he managed to get out what he needed. And he said, please, can you please help me, please?
Okay. The cure all proprietor told him that he had the perfect remedy for stopping hiccups, but it came with a price. And Elmer Watson was, let's just say he was months into this now, so he was willing to pay whatever the cost. It had ruined his work. His wife had left him because she couldn't sleep, though she was already talking about leaving him before the hookups. And he was also unable to sleep because of the constant hiccuping. So he was ready to pay whatever price the proprietor was going to ask for.
So the proprietor said, if you want to do this, you need to come into the back room. This is not something I just have out for everybody. In fact, I've only ever sold this once before. So Elmer followed him into the back. He was so dizzy from exhaustion and from lack of sleep that he was a little bit detached from reality. But he went back there. It was very dark. It was very gloomy. It had a very strange smell. And again, he still couldn't stop hiccuping. And the proprietor said, please sit here. I'm going to go back and bring out the cure. But be ready, because as I said before, it has a price.
So Elmer sat in the, I'm just going to say, windowless room on the rickety chair, listening to a ticking clock, hiccuping every 5 or so ticks. and then he heard a low rolling sound like wheels against concrete, and the door swung open, and a what are those dollies that people use to move things? He's got one of those dollies, and he's got a giant crate on the dolly, a big wooden crate, and he uh, plops it down in front of him, and then says, "It's like I don't know, 8 feet tall." And then he closes the door and tells him that you'll know what to do next. You deal with your problem now.
So from inside the crate, Elmer could hear something knocking around, banging on the wood, and he got more and more scared. At first, he thought maybe this was the proprietor's fun little trick, that this would scare him enough to finally get rid of the hiccups. But then the thing started punching out of the box, and he saw some sort of tentacle, some sort of slimy green thing emerge. And before he knew it, the thing was out. It was huge. It was sitting on the table. And then it squealed, and an entire pallet full of little squirmy babies went all over the table and into Elmer's lap. And he still wasn't sure what to do.
The proprietor's voice crackled over a speaker, and the proprietor said, "These tentacly things now view you as their mother, and you must bring them home and care for them until they are able to live on their own." Elmer, still reeling from the fact that monsters like this even existed, could barely get out a word as he pushed back from the chair tumbling over, the dry clatter against the concrete, and wiping the slime from his lap, and going for the door to leave. He runs through the shop, out into the alley, all the way back to his apartment, and as he's unlocking the door, he hears a slimy squelch behind him and sees that these little things are following him like a little gaggle of ducklings following a duck mother.
He went inside his apartment. He slammed the door, breathing really, really hard, but still hiccuping. He couldn't catch his breath. He felt like he was choking or drowning. And then from under the crack, under the door, the little things started moving into his room, squeezing themselves through the crack. And he didn't know how to care for them. He'd never asked. He was terrified. But they knew how to care for themselves. They squelched towards him. He was so terrified he couldn't move. He thought he might be having some sort of nightmare or hallucination. And at all the same time, he was choking. His mouth was wide open, and the little tentacle thing started crawling down his throat.
They push through his esophagus like giant chunks of ice till they reached his stomach, and he is now trying to make himself vomit, and it does not work. So he finds the nearest phone book, flipping through the yellow pages until he finds the proprietor's shop, and he calls them. Barely one ring gets off before the proprietor answers, and the proprietor is furious that he left without him explaining how the hiccuping thing with the things works.
And Elmer was screaming, "How do I care for them? How do I get them out? I don't know what they eat. What's happening?" And the proprietor said, "What do they eat? They eat you." And that's when Elmer realized that he was no longer hiccuping.
There we go.
The end.
The end.
That was fun.
That was good.
So I always have somebody come up with a title for this. Any titles jumping out at you?
Oh, hiccuping. Hiccuping is too on the nose. It's got to be. So I don't know. A cure for hiccups. That's still kind of the cure. No. Um. What are like terms for like unconventional medicine or unconventional cures? Uh,
Holistic medicine,
alternative.
alternative medicine.
Yeah,
Snake
something like that.
oil, charlatan.
Well, it worked though. So,
True.
we'll
Side
just say cure
effects.
for hiccups. It's on the nose, but it's
Mhm.
an over the top story, so it gets an on the nose title.
Let's do it.
A cure for hiccups.
I like it.
Pulitzer
Okay.
Prize winner for sure.
Well, after reading that, I have or after doing that, I have a surprise for you.
Okay.
So I don't know if that story made you hungry, but it made me hungry. So I created a delicious recipe for you based on We Used to Live Here.
Okay, hell yeah.
Okay, so let me tell you about it. So, since the book, this was kind of hard for me because there wasn't a lot of like food throughout the book, so it's a little bit abstract. But since the book deals with, gaslighting, alternate dimensions, doppelgangers, I wanted to create a recipe that looks one way but tastes another. So,
Okay.
I made this, I call them the doppelganger savory scones. So, everybody loves a sweet scone, but this one might look sweet, but it is anything but.
Ooh,
And it has rosemary and parmesan and red pepper flakes for some heat, and it is absolutely delicious. I tried it and tested it, and when you bite into them, you will be expecting something different, but you will still love what you get.
very cool.
And I will be including this recipe in the show notes for anybody who wants to satisfy their hunger while reading. Now,
Love
thank you
it.
so much for doing that. That was awesome. Can you tell everybody where they can find you and keep up with you and your work?
Yeah, so Instagram, Markus underscore Kliwer, and TikTok, Markus underscore Kliwer. And then I have a subreddit called r/Old House Archive, which leads to more short stories and hidden documents and fun puzzle things.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.